Okay, so this will be a continuation of procurement and contracting. So a while ago, no, we already shared about the procurement, and we want also to grind, no, the contracting issues of our government agency in all national and local level. So to give us more details about the topic, let us all welcome Sir Joseph. Go ahead, Sir Angelo.
Good morning po. Good morning, everyone. So, I'm Joseph Adriano po, and I'll be continuing the discussion po of Sir Leonard, and I will be discussing procurement and contracting. Pero since yung contracting is yung parang end game na ng procurement process itself, no? So, in-integrate ko na lang po siya sa last part ng discussion. So, I will be discussing yung public procurement process. So, actually, my presentation is very brief lang. I didn't dwell that much dun sa mga technicalities ng process kasi hahaba po masyado. So, yan po. So, to start po my presentation, let us first define what is procurement. So, it is commonly defined as the acquisition of appropriate goods and or services at the best possible price to meet the needs of the purchaser in terms of quality and quantity, time, and location. So, it is the process of selecting services from a supplier who fits best yung needs ng procuring entity. So it includes the process of selecting products and services that will provide value for money. So procurement is all about purchasing the right quality of materials at the right time in right quantity from the right source and at the right price. So procurement is a vital component of public service. It is the way public funds are spent and translated into services through procurement of infrastructure, goods, and services. So basically, the definition, it is a function that includes all stages or the process of acquiring goods and services and infrastructure that involves yung spending ng public funds to accomplish public goals. So dito sa Philippines, procurement is a major activity in the government. So a good procurement system ideally is vital for an effective public expenditure management to carry out and ensure an efficient delivery of service. Pero yun nga, in general, we can say na public procurement dito is a government activity that is most vulnerable or prone to corruption. So it provides opportunities for entities that are involved in public procurement to divert funds for their own gain. So yan. So the Philippine government enacted RA 9184 or the Government Procurement Reform Act noong January 10, 2003 to supposedly address yung mga corruption issues. And this procurement law was enacted to make public procurement more effective daw and cost efficient. So GPRA applies to the procurement ng goods and services and infrastructure and consulting services regardless of source of funds by all branches ng government. So the reform, the implementing rules and regulation were approved in 2003 and was revised in 2009 and again in 2016. So the reforms of RA 9184 aim for the modernization, standardization, and regulation of procurement activities. Still, yung perception of the public sa public procurement was characterized by fraud, inefficiency, and lack of transparency pa rin. So next, the passage of this law highlighted itong mga principles na to. So first is yung transparency in the procurement process and in the implementation ng procurement contracts. Then next is yung competitiveness by extending equal opportunity to all eligible and qualified private contracting parties to participate in public bidding. Then streamlined procurement process to be applied uniformly to all government procurement. So the procurement process shall be simple and adaptable to modern technology in order to ensure effective and efficient method. Then systems of accountability, where public officials directly or indirectly involved in the procurement process, when warranted by circumstances, investigated and be held liable for their actions. And last is yung public monitoring of the procurement process and the implementation of award contracts with the end in view of guaranteeing that these contracts are awarded pursuant to the provisions ng law. So RA 9184 created Government Procurement Policy Board or yung GPPB and yung Philippine Government Electronic Procurement System or PhilGEBs. So yung GPPB acts as the oversight authority in all government procurement. So pursuant dun sa RA 9184, it was established to protect national interests in all matters affecting public procurement. So dito sa website ng GPPB, makikita rin din natin yung blacklisting portal, online training management system, and yung mga issuances nila such as yung resolutions, circulars, and yung mga standard form to be used for procurement process. So the function of GPBP is policy making, capacity development, and monitoring. So they amend implementing rules and regulation of procurement law, and they prepare generic procurement manual and standard bidding forms. They establish a sustainable training program and ensure the proper implementation by procuring entities or PEs of the Act, this IRR, and all other relevant rules and regulation of public procurement, then reviews effectiveness ng procurement law. So on the other hand, PhilGEBs is the primary portal that serves as the primary source of information on all government procurement, from advertisement of bid opportunities to monitoring of delivery, performance, and payment. The whole process is recorded dito and posted electronically that could be viewed by the public. So procurement function plays a vital role in the achievement of organizational objectives with regards to its operation, planning, and spending. So there are benefits connected to the role of procurement activities. However, there are also challenges that hamper its effectiveness to achieve its intended purpose. Yung poor implementation ng procurement process results in higher cost to the government and in the public, and wastage of public funds na. No? So this could also result in delay in executing and implementing projects or delivery of goods and services that could turn into price escalation and delays of delivery of benefits to the beneficiary ng mga items na pinoprocure. So the next part ng discussion ko is about procurement cycle, which is yung procurement planning, procurement process itself, and the award of contract or yung contracting na. So, ito. So, procurement planning is the first step in the procurement cycle. The procurement cycle is initiated by planning the needs ng mga offices or departments. So, the plan consists of what to buy or yung item na pinoprocure mo, how many do you need or yung quantity, then what are the details or description of the items or yung technical specifications? What is the cost or the unit cost? Yung ABC or yung approved budget of the contract. So when do you need it or yung identification of delivery period and how to source it or yung source of fund mo. So these are the bases on identifying the needs. So these are just some bases that I could think of among others. So core function of the end user unit. For example, sa health department, mga pinoprocure nila, mga medical supplies and equipment. Sa police department, security equipment and materials. Sa IT naman, mga servers or systems. So, ganun. So, next is yung historical data or yung mga usual na pangangailangan like yung food supplies and school supplies, mga office supplies, ganun. Then, unforeseen contingencies. So, yung mga possible na mangyari in the future like buying face masks since yun nga may pandemic pa rin, and equipment or mga rescue equipment in cases na may tragedies or emergencies. Then, procuring entity strategic plan like queuing system, database management, inventory management, and trainings that will help the department to improve. Then, the current supply inventory. Kung ubos na yung mga office supplies niya sa storage area, ayan, pwede mag-procure ulit. So basically, itong procurement planning is just the planning and preparation ng PPMP or yung procurement program management plan by the end user. So for more technical and complicated projects, yung planning can be done through careful study ng mga dapat i-procure through cost-benefit analysis, feasibility study, and market study. So procurement planning daw should be meticulously and judiciously planned by the end users. Kasi kung hindi, magkakaroon delays in the procurement proceedings, and that would result to meron yung domino effect sa delivery ng service ng mga concerned citizens, concerned offices. So I think familiar naman tayo kung ano itong PPNP na to. So dyan naka-indicate yung general description, quantity ng items, estimated budget or yung ABC, then mode of procurement. So the mode of procurement is yung public bidding, competitive bidding. Pero in some cases, if the conditions are met, we can use alternative modes of procurement, yung mga negotiated, shopping, direct contracting, and emergency procurement. So yun. And then yung indicated din pala dito yung schedule of activities or milestones. So tapos in cases na, for example, na you have changes na gustong gawin sa PPMP, it can be done through a mandatory procurement plan. It is required when there are changes in the submitted PPMP. Siyempre, subject for the approval ng HOPE o yung head of the procuring entity. So dito sa procurement plan naman, ang role naman ng BAC Secretariat is to consolidate yung PPNP and prepare an APP or yung annual procurement plan to be approved ng HOPE. So APP refers to the entirety ng procurement activities that will be undertaken by the procuring entity within the calendar year. So it is basically the consolidation ng lahat ng PPMP ng mga end user unit. And based pala dito sa procurement law, no procurement shall be undertaken unless it is in accordance with the approved APP. So yung BACSEC also validates the PPMP and do price canvas or verification ng mga items. So chine-check ng BACSEC yung specification, yung kompleto ba, or if may brand names ba included sa specs, which is not allowed. So chine-check din yung availability sa market ng item, and if the quantity ng mga item to be procured is reasonable for its purpose and dun sa price. So bine-verify din. So chine-check din pala if kompleto na sa attachments such as yung mga design, sample, and mga distribution list among others na pwede require. And then determination of recommended mode of procurement. Yung nakalagay na mode of procurement sa BPMP na specified by the end user, it is not final, no? Yung BAC Secretariat pa rin ang may last say and authority according to sa RA 9184 kung anong mode ang gagamitin para dun sa procurement at hand. So if everything is in order na, then proceed na dun sa procurement process. Pero if not, then subject for revisions and compliance pa rin ng end user. So after lang validation, review and verification ng mga projects ng BAC Secretariat, sasalang na to sa pre-procurement conference. So prior to the advertisement or issuance of invitation to bid, the BAC shall call for a pre-proc conference. It is attended by BAC, the Secretariat, and the representative from the end user. So basically, pre-proc determines the readiness of the procurement at hand. So to determine the readiness to conduct procurement activity in terms of legal, technical, and financial requirements. So yung BAC confirms the description, scope ng contract, the ABC, and contract duration. And if may concerns, other concerns pa sila regarding sa mga specification, prices ng items, pwede nila yun i-raise sa end users. And if they find everything in order, the project will be approved for procurement process. Kapag hindi, then revision again and compliance ng end user. So yung pre-proc mandatory siya for 2 million for projects above 2 million for goods and 5 million for infrastructure. Next is yung advertisement or posting ng invitation to bid. So yung purpose ito is to start the bidding process and invite interested bidder to participate in the procurement activity. So this advertisement means uploading yung bidding documents dun sa PhilJobs website o yung portal. Or kung merong website yung agency, pwede ring i-upload dun. So posting will be 7 calendar days minimum continuously. Yung bidding documents include yung timeline activities, mga information regarding sa projects, instruction to bidders, TOR, technical specification, and other documents na pwede i-require. No? So yung advertisement pala also means na posting to conspicuous spaces or yung places na accessible to sa public. So next is yung pre-bidding conference. Pre-bid is almost the same with pre-proc, no? Pero this time it is attended naman it is attended by the prospective bidders na interested sumali doon sa in-advertise mo. Ang purpose naman ng pre-bid yun nga, is to discuss, clarify, and explain yung eligibility requirements and technical and financial components ng bid, including addressing yung mga questions and clarification raised ng mga prospective bidders. So pre-bid is conducted 12 calendar days before deadline ng opening of bids. In cases na there are still provision or changes na gagawin dun sa information regarding sa project or mga tech specs, it will be done through posting or issuance of bid bullet. It should be at least 7 calendar days prior to submission and receipt ng bid documents. So next is yung submission and opening of bids. So bidders shall submit their bids to their authorized representative using the form specified in the bidding documents in 2 separate sealed bid envelopes, and which shall be submitted simultaneously. So the first envelope should contain the technical component of bid, including the eligibility requirements. And the second shall contain the financial proposals naman. So the back shall be received by the bid shall be received by the back on the date, time, and place specified in the invitation to bid. So ang date ng submission should not be later than the following period from the last day of posting of IB. So for goods, a maximum of 45 calendar days. For infrastructure, 50 calendar days for 50 million below and 65 calendar days for 50 million above. So the back shall open the bids in public immediately after ng deadline ng submission ng bids. Ang unang i-open is yung first envelope, which is that contains eligibility and technical proposal. So the back shall check the submitted documents of each bidder against a checklist na required documents to ascertain if they are all present using a non-discretionary pass-fail criterion. So ang evaluation nito is absence or presence lang ng mga documents. So if the bidder submits the required document, it shall be rated pass. Bids that fail to include any requirement or are incomplete or patently insufficient shall be considered as failed naman. So next is yung opening naman ng financial proposal. So only second envelopes of bidders whose first envelope was rated pass shall be open. Kapag na-fail na sa first envelope yung bidder, hindi na i-open yung second envelope niya, and the bidder will be declared as failed na pag ganun. So the second envelope contains yung bid prices, bill of quantities, and price schedules. So if the second envelope of particular bid is missing, incomplete, or patently insufficient, or if the submitted total bid price exceed yung approved budget of the contract, the back shall rated the bid concerned as failed. So only bids that are determined to contain all the bids requirement for both envelopes shall be rated pass and shall immediately be considered for the next stage, which is yung bid evaluation. So the back shall further evaluate yung financial component dito sa bid evaluation to determine yung lowest calculated bid. Ang purpose ng bid evaluation is to determine the lowest calculated bid by establishing correct calculated bid prices and ranking the calculated total bid prices from lowest to highest. So in conducting detailed evaluation ng bids, a non-discretionary criterion shall be used, which shall include consideration ng